We knew they were bad. I didn't know how bad until I got involved with this audit. I told President Trump, I said, sir, I've always had an immense respect for you, but until I dealt with the media, and I realized that what I dealt with was about this much compared to what you've gone through in the last 6 years, and I said, God bless you, because I don't know how you survived. And I mean, my hat's off to him, because it's brutal. These people are mean, they're nasty, they lie, and they do not tell the truth. And I have come to the conclusion, right? And I have come to the conclusion that they are equally responsible for the mess that we are in now. Yes. I believe, this is my beliefs, I believe that they intentionally made sure, we make the jokes about Biden in the basement. I think they were intentionally complicit. I think that they intentionally made sure he stayed in the basement, because we know that he was starting to not be quite the sharpest tacks in the box anymore. And I think, you know, my personal opinion is, I think, you know, when the whole thing started, they all said, it's your turn, let Obama have this, it's your turn, you'll do it. And then all of a sudden when his turn came up, and they thought, okay, he's kind of a, you know, sort of a, you know, leans left, not crazy, so we think he'd be a good candidate. And I think by the time they started, and within a few months, it was like, well, this guy isn't all here, what are we going to do? Because they had already touted him as the best, the sharpest tacks in the box, and realized, hold on to that. It's kind of interesting to note when you watch them walking, Jill and Joe, Jill and Joe, like Joe and Jack. You know, when President Trump and Melania, when they walk, they were always hand in hand, equals, side by side. Have you ever noticed almost all the time that Jill's like 2 steps ahead of President Biden, literally leading? Watch that, you guys. Watch that next time you see it. She literally is. So I do believe that the media is entirely complicit, the liberal media, in the reason why we're here today, because I think they hid him. I think they kept him away from the public. So, and they used COVID, talk about a perfect storm. They got away with it because they were able to use that and keep him away from debating, from talking to you, so you guys could see really how bad off he was. Because we know once they were all in, and if you guys saw all that, I'm pretty sure Trump would have won by a whole lot right off the bat. So one thing I want you to do is I want you to start holding these guys accountable. You know, we all say that they're bad, but let's start holding them accountable. And if that means, you know what, if that means don't subscribe to them, if you don't do, oh, here's another thing. I gotta tell you, this is the other thing I've noticed lately. They're all starting to back each other up. So I see the liberal Yellow Sheet Capital Times, they tweet something out, and then I see the reporters from the Arizona Republic that goes, oh yeah, retweet Ryan Randuzzo over here, retweet this. They're retweeting each other. They're saying, oh, get a subscription to the Arizona Republic net. So they must have had a powwow somewhere and said, look guys, we're kind of losing here, we got to band together. Well, guess what? We're going to band together too, folks, okay? Yeah. Because we're tired. We are so tired of the media lying to us, hiding things from us. They need to be held accountable, and they need to, you know what? I wish you could figure out some way to run some legislation so that they would have to declare as an independent expenditure for candidates, because they definitely are giving to liberal candidates and not to Republican, right? And you see how that works, right? They should have to declare all that. Okay, let's go back to the audit, folks. So the good news is now we can prove and show that they have lied to us all along, that they hid things from us. So we are still working on getting that information. Let's talk about the routers and the swim plugs. Everybody get one of these when you came in? They were handing them out. Oh, general summary and conclusions of Karen Fann's backdoor deal. Wish I had a backdoor view. I don't. My front door's always open. I have no back door. But let's talk about this a second, because you know what? I leave it out there, folks. I have nothing to hide, ever. You want to know something? I'm going to tell you. You may like it, you may not, but I'm going to tell you what the truth is. So let's talk about this, since this is floating out there. And before I say that, let me also say something. This has been tough, folks. This has been really, really tough. I've taken the darts, I've taken everything else, as you have as well. I have been threatened more times than you can imagine. I have received envelopes with white powder in them. I have received death threats. And it has not been fun. Thank God that's only about 20%. The other 80% is good, wonderful, loving, God-fearing people like you who send me emails and notes and say, Karen, we've got your back. We are praying for you. Hang in there. We know this is tough. So thank you all for that as well. And with that, I am now going to say, so it does get a little disheartening when somebody does something that tries to trash my reputation and go against everything we're trying to work so hard to accomplish here. Because you know what they say? United we stand, divided we fall.
Come on.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. Let's get this out in the open. So as you know, Maricopa County has been hiding the splunk logs and the routers from day one. They have done a very, very good, successful job of trashing our auditors and discrediting them. So the last 4 lawsuits that we've been involved with, Judge Hannah, which is one of our newest judges that has been doing this the last few months, has ruled against us. He was appointed to the bench by Janet Napolitano. What does that tell you? He is cited against us every time with American Oversight, with Perkins Coie, with everybody else. Somebody remind me to touch on that point when I'm done with this one, to talk about the transparency of our emails and audits. But let's go back to this real quick. He has ruled against us time and time again. We have appealed, we have spent money. He keeps ruling against us. Now, we are 1 week before before we are doing the September 24th report. And we have Sonny Borelli. Anybody know Senator Borelli? He's a great guy. He's my sarge. He filed a 1487. And what a 1487, if you don't know, is that we passed a law a few years ago that says as a municipality, if you break a state law, if you don't follow state law, we have the right to withhold your state shared revenues. And that can be a lot of money. Oh, yeah. Right? Yeah. So we got their attention, and Attorney General Brnovich backed us up on that one. So we're saying, great, we've got now have some hold. So the week before the September 24th, I happen to know that the Maricopa County already had a lawsuit prepared, was going to go back to Judge Hannah and tell him, because they had said all along, we will never, never, never turn over the Splunk logs or the routers to Cyber Ninjas or Cypher. That there is security information on there with the Maricopa County deputies, there's private information, etc., and they have everybody convinced, including Judge Hannah. And the media played a big part of that as well, because they didn't dispute any of it.
So did the sheriff.
So they were, yeah, and Sheriff Penzone was right in there. Thanks, Steve, you're right. So I already knew, as did our attorneys and everybody else, that if they had filed that lawsuit and gone back, the judge would have said, you're not getting that information. And here's why they really are going to say that. Is because they came to me a week before and said, we'd like to talk a settlement to get this 1487 issue over with. I said, I'm always yours. All I want is the information. You guys started this piss and match. You guys started this fight. My job is to get this audit done fairly, accurately with the information, so tell me what you've got. And they said, well, we will never, never, never turn over these specifically to Cyber Ninjas, because we all know that they don't know what they're doing, and they're not certified auditors, and they're not this and everything else. By the way, on that note, they're right about that. They're not certified auditors. Because there are no certified auditors, folks. There is no such thing. They do not exist as a certified election auditor. I called the Federal Election Commission when I first started this and started to get a list of who I should start interviewing, talking, and they said, President Fann, there are no certified auditors. We only authorize companies to certify the machines before and after election. By the way, the 2 audits that Maricopa County did, yeah, they hired 2 companies, which was Pro VD and SLI, to do these audits. Pro VD is the company that certified the machines to begin with. Did you know that? And neither one of them are certified auditors. They are 2 companies that are authorized to certify the machines before and after election. So you didn't hear about that in the paper either, did you? So there are no certified. But the deal, back to the other, is that they were ready to go back to court, and they said, here's what we'll do. We will offer to hire a special master who has the ability to hire professional IT companies and firms that will get all of your questions and answers to what you need off the swamp logs and the routers. Now, first and foremost, I asked my attorney, our attorney, and I said, I have 4 attorneys, by the way. I asked all 4 of them, and I said, if we enter into this, do I lose any rights at all as the Senate or anything we have? And they said, no, you don't, Karen. This is only settling this one 1487 issue. He said, they all said, if they don't give you the information, if they screw around, if they withhold anything again or not answer your questions, you still have every legal remedy available to you, including subpoenas, taking them to court, file another 1487. We can do whatever we want, okay? So I did not give up any privileges or rights. What we did do is say, we're going to take the high road here, and we're going to get this information, knowing full well that the judge was not going to give those machines over anyway, and it was a double whammy because the judge would have said they just offered a reasonable solution and you refused. So the judge would have said, no, you get nothing. So we took the high road and we said, yeah, we're going to do it. And I let them know very well, which is why Supervisor Gallardo voted no on and went on the media, because he said, I voted no because I know tomorrow she can issue a subpoena again and we're going to start this circus all over again. He's dang right. That's exactly what we're going to do today. So that's what we are doing. I see Congressman John Shattuck's name is mentioned on this. He served, for those of you who have not been in Arizona very long, he served as a congressman for many years. He was very well respected. He worked very closely with John Kyle, if you know Senator Kyle, very respected man. Yes, he did some work about 4 or 5 years ago for Hickman Farms and represented them on something, but that doesn't mean that he has anything else. Hell, I took a, can I say hell in here? Yeah. I do believe I even have a campaign contribution from like 4 years ago from Paul Hickman, his brother. So guess what? You know, things change, and it doesn't mean that the things happened back then are the same things here. But I've always known Mr. Shattuck, Congressman Shattuck, to be an honorable man. And I'm not going to accuse him of anything until he shows me he's not honorable. And I think that's the least we can do to do that with any human being. So I'm okay, thank you. So I'm okay with him. And for some reason, if he doesn't get the answers for us or there's anything else, I'm going to let you guys know. And we're going to start this all over again because they promised us the information and we're going to get it. So we will do that. So let's talk about, let's see. Karen Fann's agreement was made unilaterally without consent of the Arizona Judicial Committee, the Senate body, and the people of Arizona at large. Okay, guess what? I don't need, as Senate President, I don't have to get that. Because I have the constitutional authority to do that as Senate President. And do you know what? That's why we are where we're at, is because I had the authority to issue the subpoenas. I didn't have the votes on the floor to get them, folks. But guess what? We did it. We got it. things, and I agree 100%. 99% of the time, I absolutely agree. I would love to have our Senate vote on things and get, heck, I don't want just 16 to 14, I'd like to have majority. I'd love to have all of you vote on things. I'd love to be able, because that's what I've been about. I've been in politics over 25 years, folks. I'm tired, to be honest with you, but I'm going to tell you, I love this. But sometimes I am thankful and I'm grateful that once in a while we have some power that I don't have to wait for 16 votes or put it on the ballot, because sometimes things are too important to do that. And if I have the authority to issue a subpoena on my own, and I did it with our judicial chair, first with Eddie Farnsworth, then with Warren Peterson after we changed over. The two of us did it together, and that's how we got it done, because we had the authority, the legal authority to do it. And this is why we're still in the fight, and this is why we're doing this. You know, you guys, you say, why didn't you throw the supervisors in jail? Should have gone to jail. Well, our rules, our laws, constitutionally, rules everything else, that once we did the subpoena and they said, no, we're not going to turn these over to you, whatever it was, excuse me, the next thing I have to do, constitutionally and by the rules, what I have to do is we have to put a resolution of contempt up on the board, and we have to vote on it. And I have to get at least 16 votes. Folks, I didn't have 16 votes. I had one member that is actually sided with the supervisors that has his own Twitter account out there and backs them up every time. I did not have the legal authority. Now, see, there's a nice little reverse there. You know, on one hand you say, you got to have people's votes, and on the other hand, I'm saying, yeah, when I'm required to get the votes, I can't even get the votes. So thank God I had the ability to do some stuff on my own. And Sonny Borelli had the authority to file the 1487 all by himself too. We didn't have to take a vote on that either. So that is the reality of this. That's the reality of what's going on here. So not only are we supposed to get the information, and if we don't, we'll go back. They also had a claim against us for $2.8 million, and they dropped that as well. They said, we won't go after the $2.8 million. I said, good, because I was going to fight you in court over that one too. But this was the right decision at the right time to do. And if we don't get the information, as I've said a half a dozen times now, we will get it. So, that's the deal with this. If you have any more questions later about it, glad to answer those, but I gave you the scenario. Let's also talk about the transparency issue. Everything you are hearing in the paper about we're hiding things, we're not turning records over, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. Once again, that's half lies, full lies in some cases. So as a Senate body, and according to the laws, per the Constitution, per the rules, that if as a public entity, using your taxpayers, we are required to turn documents over in a public records request. Now, we are entitled to some things that are held private. Some of those things that are held private is communications between me and our attorneys, just like you and your attorneys have a private clause. Some of the things are things that our information we are gathering while we are working on legislation. Doesn't matter what the topic is, that is all still privileged information. Once we put that out there, we put the bill out there, we drop that bill and we put it out there, then you can have that information. But up until that time, it's privileged because we're working on legislation. Outside of that, pretty much everything else you guys can have. And as the Senate and myself, we have turned over 60,000 documents. 60,000. My personal emails, my personal texts have been included. This judge has even gone after our personal information. Besides all the other stuff, it's out there. And guess what? You haven't heard much about it because there's nothing there, folks. You know, they tried to say, I think the worst they did is they saw one of my texts where I kind of said something about a fellow senator that I said she's off a rocker today or something, and okay, I got nailed on that one, okay. But outside of that, No, there wasn't there. So they keep fishing, right? They keep fishing because they're trying to do this more and more and more. We'll talk about decertify in a minute, okay? I see your sign. And I know that's important. So consequently, we have turned that over with the exception of these documents that are still under legislative privilege for the 2 explanations I told you. Now, when they say that we're hiding stuff, let me tell you what that's about. This Judge Hanna, same Judge Hanna, has ruled in favor of the Arizona Republic as well as American Oversight and Perkins Coie, and what they're trying to do is get all of the personal emails, text messages between Cyber Ninjas and all of his clients and his subcontractors. That's what that's about, folks. They want information from 2 private companies, from private individuals. Now, where does that stop? And the judges ruled, we actually appealed that, and the judge ruled against us. So now they're going after, they are now threatening to hold me in contempt of court as well as Doug Logan with Cyber Ninjas. Cyber Ninjas is on his, because there's 2 cases going. Cyber Ninjas has just filed their own appeal on their own. And quite honestly, I support him 100% on his appeal. I absolutely do. Where do you draw this line at? So we do, as a state, we do something with, you know, let's talk about Microsoft, okay? Just pick Microsoft, Intel, anybody. And we have a contract with you for software, this, that, and the other. All my stuff is open. You guys can see everything. So does that mean we now get to go to Microsoft and say, by the way, we now own your personal emails and everything with all of your clients and stuff? Anybody that had anything to do with this software, we have rights to that? I don't think so, folks. That is definitely an overreach. Yeah. And it's an invasion of our privacy is what I say. So I'm all for them. I'm all for supporting him in what he does. What I will tell you is, yes, I've had to send a letter as Senate President, as I am required to do, to tell him that the judge has told us that they are in breach, that they are in non-compliance, because in our contract it says you will give us any pertinent information. Now, we didn't say that you would give us all your private emails. We said things that we were doing with the contract. So we do believe the judge has gone well over his boundary on that one. But we did have to send a letter. I sent a letter notifying him and the subcontractors, please be aware, the judge has just issued a rule that he's looking at holding us in contempt of court. Now, I'll let you in a little secret. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. Because I was talking to our attorney the other day. And I said, you know what? I said, I know I have a job to do as Senate President, and I have to protect my taxpayers, and we have to do everything. But I'm going to tell you what. If this judge wants to hold me in contempt of court, now I don't have these records, folks. Senate has never had these records. These belong to Cyber and his clients. I don't even have them. I can't turn over something I don't have. And I told my attorney, I said, you know what? If he wants to hold me in contempt because I'm not turning over something I don't have, then let him. In fact, you know what? I'm okay with that. If he wants to throw me in jail because I'm not turning over something I didn't think needed to be turned over to begin with, much less the fact that I don't have, go ahead. Send me to jail. And I say that because I know he is definitely crossing the line there. I know that this will become a national story like unbelievable proportions, and it will blow up the judicial system when you have judges that decide they're going to try and jail the Senate President. That's going to be real ugly, folks. And you know what? That gives me the reason to have him kicked off of our case. He does not belong working on our case. So, that is the whole story about the 4 records. Decertified, let's talk about that. You had your sign up. Let's talk about decertify. I know everybody, not everybody, but I know many people, they want to talk about they want everybody to decertify. Let's talk about that, folks. I know no matter how much you want it or how much you guys want Trump back in, how much we hate Biden and the crap he's doing to our country right now, I'm with you. I'm so angry at what's going on now. I've never been this angry in my entire life, ever, of what's going on these last 9 months. I'm just beyond myself. But we have rules that we have to follow. Now, first and foremost, we do not have a procedure to decertify. I mean, even the scholars will say, we have no way, no specific thing. Now, mind you, even for us to recall the electors, even for us to do anything, that is going to require the vote of the House and the Senate. We're back to this again. This is a circumstance in which I do have to get votes from the House and the Senate to either recall electors, to decertify whatever we think we want to put up on the board that we think we can get passed. I have to get 16 and 31 minimum. So first of all, I don't have 16 in the Senate, and I can tell you, I know darn well I don't even have close to 31 in the House. In fact, I'm not sure it would even be put up on the board, because guess what? The Senate is the only one doing this audit, folks. This is on our back and our back only. We've been leading the charge all by ourselves. But I have to do that. It has to go through both bodies. Now, how am I going to do that? How do I possibly get 16 and 31 to move this goalpost? How do I do that? And if you were an elected official and you said, we've got a report, we see there's a lot of problems, missing data, this was done, 6 laws were broken, 8 laws were broken, whatever. But we have a lot of inconclusive stuff. So, do you really know whether Biden won, Trump won, this, that, and the other? To vote for decertification? Well, I have members that aren't 100% convinced yet. And a lot of it's because of the liberal media and the Maricopa County, how they have totally trashed this entire audit. So I've got to convince those people that everything was so bad that we can't really tell who won. Because we have envelopes, you know, your ballot envelopes that you got to sign to say, this is my ballot. We have thousands of those with no signatures at all that never should have been counted. I can't tell you because they're separated. I can't tell you if they belong to a Republican or a Democrat or an independent or who they voted for because they're taken out. But I can tell you that there's a whole bunch of them that aren't signed and never should have been counted. But if I've got to convince people to vote to do any action at all to turn this election around and hold these people accountable, we have to convince them. Now, the legislative body, we pass laws, we make sure those laws are working, and then we pass new ones to fix those. It is the Attorney General's office to enforce those laws, which is why we have turned everything over to the Attorney General, and he has opened up an investigation so that he can verify everything that we have given him. And when he verifies that and gives us something that I can take back and say, okay, the media lied to you, Maricopa lied to you, but here it is. Here's the proof. Our Attorney General, maybe it's a grand jury, maybe it is a court, whatever it is. Here we go. We now have independent, supposedly nonpartisan people that can verify what we just turned over to them. And let me also say, there's another hero out there that I really want to thank a lot, because part of the original audit was we were supposed to do some canvassing. The auditor was to knock on doors to verify these reports that we were getting about 25 ballots that went to a home where only 2 people lived there. We have a lot of affidavits of people testifying and verifying that things that they saw. And we were going to do it, but the Department of Justice came down on us and said, we will halt you right now if you try and do that, because that's voter suppression.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Knocking on doors, asking if they voted is voter suppression. Knocking on doors and asking if they got 25 ballots, no, that's voter suppression. So, what I told the Department of Justice, because we had just gotten the ballots, we had just won so many lawsuits, they're still coming after, and I said, you know what? I am going to postpone the canvassing indefinitely. We'll put it at the back end. And if we need to do it, we'll look at it at the back end. But we're not going to do it. So that backed them off. So they didn't take the ballot.